I call on all the fighters of Burkina Faso, young people, men, women, all the notable ordinary religious people, all the Burkinabés of the diaspora in their diversity, to unite, to rise up and to engage in a fight against this terrorist threat which, for the past few years, has only been tearing apart the social fabric of Burkina.
This is the journey to one Africa.
Monsieur le Président par intérim du Conseil constitutionnel, Mesdames et Messieurs les Présidents d'institutions,
Mr. President of the Constitutional Council, ladies and gentlemen, President of Institutions, Mr. Chief of Staff, Major General of the Armed Forces, ladies and gentlemen, councillors, members of the Constitutional Council, military, paramilitary, customary and religious authorities, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I will not give a speech this morning. I will speak to you in my own words, from the bottom of my heart, having in mind the ideas and the message that I have to convey to you. Mr. President of the Constitutional Council, ladies and gentlemen, members of the Constitutional Council, distinguished guests, people of Burkina Faso, I am here to remind you of the circumstances in which the September 30 crisis occurred. On this, we all see this degrading security and humanitarian situation in which our nation was living. This led us, last January, to take unconstitutional actions to restore and give life to this nation. The objective of the patriotic movement for safeguarding and restoring was to take our destiny into our own hands. However, from January 24th to September 30th, we have seen drifts that have led to a reshaping of this transition. This is why, once again, as our spokesman quoted by the interim president of the Constitutional Council, Captain Thomas Nkara, he said, therefore, we have decided in all my conscience, before the history, to assume our revolt. This revolt is that of thousands of internally displaced people. This revolt is that of soldiers on the front, who continually challenge and courageously challenge the enemy that is hiding. And that is no longer hiding. This war, which we have long claimed to be an unconventional war, but today we can assure ourselves that we have an army facing us. This revolt is also that of volunteers for the defense of the homeland, who also pay the heavy tribute, but who defend this homeland with their bodies and souls. This revolt is that of our brothers and sisters of the afflicted communities. It is finally that of all Burkinabé, both internally and externally, who, aware of the abyss in which they were in the nation, have led us to assume ourselves once again. I would not be able to continue without presenting our condolences to the families of the victims of these events, of September 30th, also wishing prompt recovery to the injured, and to everyone who was a victim of these events of October 30th and 2. I would also like to say that these events are also their revolt. We pay tribute to them.
Cette révolte est celle des milliers de personnes déplacées internes. Cette révolte est celle de soldats au front.
Also, I would like to greet here and in front of everyone the religious authorities, all the notables who did not make any effort, during these events so that we could avoid the worst. I thank them from the bottom of my heart for their contribution to appease the tension, as there is a peaceful denouement of the situation. Thank you again to all these notables, to all these authorities. The context in which our nation is quite difficult to describe. The very existence of the nation is in peril. On this fighting people of Burkina Faso, we are confronted with an unprecedented security and humanitarian crisis. I would like everyone to be aware of this situation, and that we can get out of it stronger and more united. Beyond the fact that a large part of our territory is out of our control, thousands of our citizens find themselves refugees in their own country, which we have called for a long time the PDIs, internally displaced people. I would like to remind you of our objectives. Our objectives are none other than the reconquest of the occupied national territory by these hordes of terrorists. Our objectives are none other than to give a breath of fresh air to all our compatriots afflicted by this conflict. It is also to consider an endogenous development by relying only on ourselves and by trying to rethink our agriculture, our farming, our technology, and by interrogating the foundations of our actions, our aspirations for prosperity. I would like to reassure you once again, our partners and all the countries of Burkina Faso, that we will keep our commitments in front of all, our partners and all the friends of Burkina Faso. No sacrifice will be too much to get this country out of the situation it is in. So our commitment is for a return to peace, and our compass will always be this people. This is what will guide us throughout these 21 months. On this, I therefore call for a patriotic and popular mobilization. I call on all the fighters of Burkina Faso, young people, men, women, all the notable ordinary religious people, all the Burkinabés of the diaspora in their diversity, to unite, to rise up and to engage in a fight against this terrorist threat which, for the past few years, has only been tearing apart the social fabric of Burkina Faso and preventing us from living. I therefore call on all of you, whether you are in cities that are not yet affected or in countrysides at the very bottom of Burkina Faso, to unite. This war is not only a war of peoples outside our big cities. Inside the cities, we have a duty to be aware of the situation, to rise up, to unite with these afflicted peoples so that in Burkina Faso we are one.
Au-delà du fait donc qu'une grande partie de notre territoire échappe à notre contrôle, donc des milliers de nos concitoyens.
Finally, I have to remind you here, for my part, that I will be committed to your side, to the side of all Burkinabés, on the different fronts for the total liberation of our territories. For my nation, I will fight to the last breath, and I call on all of you to integrate this. Finally, I would like to reiterate here to all my compatriots our thanks and wish that this momentum that has guided us over the past few days, that this fervor that is in the youth, is even greater in the fight against terrorism. Let us federate our energies. Let us unite for real. Let us be solidary. Let us support each other. Whether you are Burkinabés from the inside or from the outside, everyone has their contribution to get this country out of where it is. My conviction is certain. Burkina has capable men, Burkina has fighters, and we can get by. We can win this battle. We can win this war. I am convinced, and I say it. We have fighters, and we can do it. Finally, dear paramilitary security forces, I invite you and I invite us to unite us and to silence certain quarrels, because the enemy in front of us is much more united. May each wearer of the uniform give his, and that together everyone can contribute and that we can win in the short term. The enemy is not above us. If the defense of the homeland is sacrificed day and night, our wearers of the uniform have no reason but to unite us, to support them, to go in line and to win. On this, long live Burkina Faso, the homeland or death, we will win. Thank you.
Retour de la paix.